Alright everybody, welcome back to the Turbo Addicts channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about carburetors and rebuilding them, and the 1976 Mercury 1150 carburetors, which are the WMKs. I'm going to go over a couple basics and get a couple short clips of video together so that way I don't run over on the rebuild. I'm waiting for the postman to come up by the house to see if he possibly has my float bowls. I do have my carburetor kits, but I do not have my float bowls. So first thing I wanted to do is just give you a little showing of the diagram here that is provided in your book on how everything goes together. This is so that in case you don't have one, you can see how these things go together. Just a good reference to have. If you don't have a book, buy the book. I mean, really. This applies to my carburetor, which is the Type A, labeled as the book as the backdraft carburetor. And I'll take you over here and show you what they look like here. Here are mine. They had come off the boat just as such. If you watched my other videos, you'll see how I disassembled them, how I got to where they are, and I took them off as one single unit. All of these connections are going to have to be taken apart so that you can rebuild all of these, but I wanted to show you know, how this stuff orients together so you could take a good look at it, and I can always look back and reference it. We have a long hose here, connects up at the top. This would be the top of the motor, by the way. You can tell by this is here. This goes to the solenoid for the choke. Anyway, back here, fuel line goes there, runs down, runs down, runs down. The only other lines that are on here are these little guys here, which they connect from one side all the way around to the other here. The top two have the shutters on them, and they have a bar that connects those two. What I'm going to do right now, before I do anything else, is I want to clean these up. I want to spray them down. They're really dirty, they're really nasty. So I have over here some carburetor cleaner, which I'm going to use. Oh, butterfly. I don't know if you guys seen that. Butterfly just flew by my face. It's an omen. Yeah, it probably is an omen, seeing that it's October, middle of October now, and it's like 75 degrees out today. Ooh, I had a receipt blowing across the yard. That's no good. Oh, not a receipt. Fuel tank instructions. Ooh. Getting back to what I was doing here. I don't think I need to sit here and explain to you how to clean off carburetors and spray them down. I'm sure that you're all talented enough to use a spray can. If you're not talented enough to use a spray can, then you probably shouldn't be doing this. And you might want to reassess your life. So let's just go ahead and be honest with ourselves here. Give up if you can't use a spray can. Let's soak these down. Like I did in my other videos, you're going to want to get out a wire brush and knock off any of this like nasty stuff on there, you know. Get all that off. Get this all cleaned up. And I might take apart everything today and show you how to get these all apart, which is really not that difficult. I think the real trick is going to be figuring out how all these orient back together, especially if it's one of those deals where you're deciding to take it apart over winter and it's sitting on your shop, you know, your workbench, and then you forget, which would suck. But we're gonna, hopefully this will help you out a little bit with all this. Oh, quick note, if anybody's ever trying to find out what model carburetor you have, in these in specific, right on the front here, I don't know if you can see that with my camera, it's labeled WMK 18-3. The same thing here, you gotta lift this up, WMK 18-2, and there's one more here, says WMK 18-1. So 1, 2, 3 from top to bottom. So that's how you identify your carburetors. But I'm gonna go ahead and clean these up and see where we're at from there. Okay guys, here we are now. I've removed the hose from the top here, from the back. And the next thing that I want to do while these are all still attached is I'm going to want to take off the choke shutters. There's a bolt here that holds the shutter in. There's a spring here which attaches to this bolt back here, and then it feeds through this little hole right there. I don't know if you can really see that or not. Which these shutters are pretty much identical. The one that doesn't have the spring on it, and they just connect via this little cross-link bar. That's why it can be a little confusing, is that, you know, these carburetors are identical even though the numbers are different. You do want to put them back in the same orientation that they came out of, so keep that in mind when disassembling. I don't care if you mark them with the stamp, I don't care if you mark them with a piece of tape, I don't care if you take photos of everyone and etch your initials in the back. I really don't give a shit. Just put them back the way they came out. I've been told that by many people, so just keep going with the flow. We're gonna take these off here. Remember, like I always say, let's save your bolts, put them back where they came from, you know, loosen things in fair amounts, blah 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 blah. You've heard my SOP story over and over again. So once you get these unbolted, God, it's nice out today. I don't know what the weather's like where you guys are at, or where you're at from watching this video, but man, it is freaking nice out today. It sucks that I got a headache. I don't know why. Okay, so now that that's unbolted, it can wiggle loose there, but I want to get this spring off. So what I did was grab a 7/16 wrench, and you can reach right underneath here. I'm trying to do this looking through the LCD screen without holding anything. Maybe I can set you right here and you can see there is a nut right here. Loosen that up. I'm sorry if the video's wiggly, guys. And then what you're going to want to do is, you can kind of see how that spring is just sitting on there. You want to pry that off somehow, some way. Try not to bend it too much. See if you can see what I'm doing. Got a little handy dandy screwdriver thingy. And once you have that off, you have no more tension on this anymore. The cages are going to probably hold these on. To take the cages off, there's a little screw there and a screw there. Take them off. They do have some kind of spring on them too, I think to give for this stuff to move around. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull those off, and I'll click right back on. Okay guys, pulled off the cages. There is a screw with a little nut on the back, right? You see it, and there's a spring here. So once you start loosening these up, this drops down and is able to freely spin, which kind of sucks. So you just put a screwdriver back there and push it up. And then I put them back where they were. I have my cages separate, my two nuts that secure the shutters. Now the shutters should just lift off. And I'm going to do my best to keep this thing as one complete assembly, because I really don't feel like reinventing the wheel. So now that those are off, I like to always put my screws back on. And what I'm going to show you here is these here simply slide off to disconnect from that joint. There is a keyed end and a keyed end. So now these are all separate, and now all we have to deal with is the fuel hoses. And like I said before, I like to jam these in there, wiggle these loose, and separate all those. So I'm gonna do that and get these loose. Once I get those fuel hoses off, we're gonna be back. We'll be looking at 3 separate carburetors. All right, so we're back. I had pulled the fuel lines off, as you can see. Oh shit. Got the fuel lines pulled off. So now we have 3 separate carburetors. So let's play around and have a good look at them, see how they work. Let's go with this one. It doesn't have anything really attached to it. This is the top carburetor. It has a little throttle valve here, which turns your butterfly inside. Now, when it comes to rebuilding carburetors, I've never done one of these before. I've messed with old Quadrajets and Edelbrocks and Hollies, and so I get the basic principle behind all of this stuff. Right now, while I'm in here, the book does a very nice breakdown of how everything disassembles. So what I plan to do is to take you step by step through the whole process, just as the book does, and we'll start to take these apart. I do know that inside here is the floats, because I had disconnected this before when I was doing disassembly to figure out how to detach all this shit, and I found that the floats were in there. Seen them with a little spring, real itty bitty spring, and a teeny tiny thing, and said, fuck that, I'm putting it back together right now. I don't want to deal with that. I was too frustrated at the moment. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull off this other cage, and I'm gonna take a look at the book as a reference. Yeah, I'm reading directions, assholes. I don't want to hear it. And you can do the same. I know that mine starts on page 418 of my manual. If you don't have the manual, get one. I've told you that twice now. They're really inexpensive, maybe 30 bucks, 40 bucks, something like that. Very well worth it. A lot of the information's outdated, but so what? It's better than having no information, and hopefully my information will help you out along the way. Okay? So yeah, I'm gonna get there, take a look, and we'll be back. Quick update. The page that I was showing you before is the wrong page. This is the page with the labels of the parts. It's on 419. I was looking at a side bowl carburetor. This is the back drag right here. So you can see how all this stuff goes together, right? And what you're going to be finding inside all these goody parts. Why don't you take a notice of this number 4 here, the Welch plug. In this book it mentions taking it out by basically poking a hole through the bastard and peeling it out with some kind of tool. I want to show you where they are on the actual carburetor, and I think that at that point in time you can make an executive decision on what you want to do. That's where your Welch plug is, and I don't know if you can see in my video here, because this fucking camera's a piece of shit. I've got to convince my wife to buy a new one. There is like factory crimps on there. Like somebody smacked it with a chisel and a punch or something to crimp those in. So I don't plan on taking mine out right now. I don't know if it'll have any adverse effects, but I will find out down the road. So I'm going to go through a little step by step here on how we're going to start taking some things apart. Okay guys, let's talk a little bit about where we're at right now. Before getting into these, I wanted to look into the book and see how the book shows you to do it. Now, the directions in the book are slightly skewed for a different style of carburetor, even though it's still claiming it to be the exact same carburetor. Now, I'm gonna point out a few crucial things that I do already know. Okay, and this is just from my own experience and something that you should take note before getting into this. If you've never done one before, if you've done this before, you know, more power to you. Please let me know. This is the the Mercury carb kit that I bought. It's a 1395-5109-1. That's the Mercury part number. There are 3 required because there's 3 carburetors. Just wanted to make note of that so that you guys knew. They can be had online for I don't know, $10, $15 a piece. In them there is a smorgasbord of little pieces and gaskets. And again, I don't know if you have to use all this stuff for these rebuilds, how much is necessary, how much is not necessary, but you know, I will find out how much as I go along. I always try and associate some of the parts that I see. Like I see this part here, this stainless steel bolt. I associate that would be in that part. I know that in here, this is where the float bowl is, inside here, okay? And there's 2 screws that come off. That is a air valve. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna open this up for you. I don't know if you can see that from there. This is going to fall over. Where you at? Okay, here we go. I'm gonna take my fat fingers. I'm gonna undo the 2 bolts. I've had these loose before, so they're still loose. One's long, one's short. Long one goes back towards the mounting flange. The short one goes towards the front. Okay. Well, let's have a little look together here. When you pull this off, you have a contraption under here. Then there is a needle in there, and there's these 2 arms. Down in the tube, you have your float there. It does move. Mine has ladybugs in there. Oh, can you see that? That's probably wouldn't be good for fresh run on a motor. These heights, when you install them, let me turn it around so you can see it a little bit better. These heights are crucial for where these end up at when it's upside down and when it's right side up, like it is right now. Right side up, this would be the way that it's installed, and then this would be upside down. I'm spinning it so you get that valve out of your way, because they show measurements of these. But I did notice, looking at this, that, let me get it to where you can see, that when I drop mine down, it doesn't touch. I mean, you can shake it a little bit. I think it's supposed to touch, so that's probably a good thing that I'm in here doing this now. I can already associate 1 gasket to there. There's 2 pins here that they look like I can move them with my finger. This one's solid in there though, so I do have a punch set to get those out. They're like the punch set, if you need one, they have them at Home Depot for like $4. So I see those parts in there. There's the metering needle or needle of sort that's underneath there. Can you see that? I'm not sure if you can see that. So I want to inquire about a couple things before I go any further, because there's a few crucial points on this carburetor, and I can tell because there's some kind of gasket sealant added to them, or they're leak points or potential leak points. We have one there, we have one there, we have one on the bottom, and I noticed there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws or plugs that can be removed. So I want to find out what all those are by reading the book and asking a couple questions. Since my float bowls aren't here yet, I'm probably going to bring these in. Our weather looks kind of shitty today. They said it was going to be 75 and really, really nice, but it was going to be some torrential downpours. So what I want to do is bring this stuff into the house. Yes, that's right, I'm bringing it into the house, into the kitchen. I'm going to grab a box and put everything together. I'm going to let the carburetors air out a little bit. Dog? Fucking dog. Hey, Star. Star. Come here. Knock it off. Leave the cats alone. That's Star, our half Doberman, half Basset Hound turd. Anyway, I'm gonna bring this stuff inside the house into the kitchen. I have tomorrow. I'm gonna spend the rest of the day doing a little bit of research and making sure I'm on the right page and I'm doing the right thing. I don't want to jack anything up while I'm doing this because I don't want to take these apart again. I got to do this 3 times, so I'd like to get it right the first time, know what I'm doing, knock all the kinks out, get it done, and show you guys how to do them one at a time, and be able to get all these done and put back together, so that this is information for you guys, so that you don't make mistakes. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. Well, what the hell am I talking about? Thanks for watching. I'm just gonna upload these videos. I'm gonna pause it right here. I'm gonna add this to the rest of the carburetor build, so stay tuned. Okay, guys, all right, back to the carburetor rebuild. On taken most of my earlier videos beforehand, and you know that we're at this point. Last conversation topic was this Welch plug. I have been informed by a friend of mine, anything that has this red goop on it, you need to take note that that should not be removed, unless you really have to. And your first order of business that everyone should know is that this tube here, this thing can be removed, and permanently removed. You can either remove that or remove this jet. This was part of a old Mercury gas saving technique that allowed these to pull fuel through there and air, and what was going on is it was causing a lean condition, which can be very dangerous in a two-stroke, because now you have no lubricant, because it's not like your regular car that has oil separate. Oil runs through the engine to operate. I'm sure you probably know that, but just in case you didn't. Also, underneath here is your main jet. The high-speed jet is underneath the big one here. Your idle jet is here, and up underneath here is the metering jet for the idle circuit. Removing this metering jet is risky and is easily damaged by a screwdriver. You can tap it with a punch first and then make sure that your screwdriver is properly fit to get in there. But your first order of business with the carburetor rebuild, and I have obtained my float and my kit, and I'm going to show you how to do it on the one, not the rest of them. I apologize if you guys hear any wind. I have moved to the side of my house because it's very windy today, and I just got this new camera, and I'm now shooting in 720-60 FPS to see how that turns out. First thing you're going to want to do is get that float out, which mine is quite caked in there. I'm sure that didn't aid in anything at any point in time. Voila. And I don't know if you can see, I'm going to switch this thing to a close-up mode, and I'm going to bring this in. It's kind of hard to see right now, but this thing is caked dirty in there. Very nasty. We're going to want to get all that out. Let me switch back to regular mode. So you want to take that out, and you're going to want to clean out the bottom of that. That's filled with all kinds of good goo. We're going to go ahead and take this guy out, and underneath here, the high-speed jet, I was told that we really shouldn't have to replace it, but you're going to want to replace this gasket, which does come in your kit. I'm trying to take a good look in there and see how it looks. It doesn't seem to be too dirty in there. And we're going to want to take this guy off. The idle. This is where you actually adjust. And you want to count. Mine is set back to where it was originally, and you can tell by looking at it, it's in line there. You want to count full revolutions. 1, 2, and about a quarter, all the way down to fully seated. So then you can go ahead and pull it out. So now you know it's 2 1/4 down. I think that's actually the starting point for idle adjustment, is 2 1/4 out from fully seated. But I'll get into that at another video down the road. Let me make sure you're still seeing everything I'm doing. I got you guys set up funky on a tripod here with my new camera, so hopefully this video is a lot nicer for you to see. Out of this comes the spring and your needle. And I know I said in the beginning that we weren't going to take anything off. This actual carburetor, I've already taken these off, but you have to reseal them when you do that with either thread sealant by Permatex or JB Weld, I was told, will reseal all this good stuff. So you know that there is a gasket here, gaskets in the kit, all kinds of good dirty goo in there, and you need a properly fitting screwdriver to get in there, I was told, because you can really jack some shit up. So I know that this probably isn't a properly fitting screwdriver, but fortunately I have about 6 other carburetors that came with my new motor. So it came loose. I'm going to go ahead and take it out. Just make sure that when you're taking it out, you're nice and straight on. I think there is a copper gasket underneath this thing too. So I'm going to, that head fell out, and I do not see any copper gasket in there. So this mamma jamma is dirty as can be. I don't see any copper gaskets down in there, and I am not going to do anything with the Welch plug. So now that you have that all done, the next step is to clean this stuff out, and then you want to blow it out with compressed air. You want to get in all these holes in here, all these little teeny tiny holes with your cleaner, and down in this thing, down in here, you know, shoot it all down in this thing, all down in here, clean that thing out real good. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to do that, and we'll come back. Okay, welcome back. I keep saying welcome back when I just put you on pause like I went somewhere. What I have done, as you can see, I now have a lot of shit on my table. I got toothbrushes, I got Q-tips, I got little computer cleaner, I got carburetor cleaner, and I had went through all the passages and scraped all out down in here, which had gunk layered all in there. Blew out every little passage, took the idle metering jet, right here, and sprayed that thing straight through. It does go all the way through. It can get filled with gunk, so if you shoot from this end straight through, it'll spray out the other end. Just be careful. Like I was warned, you don't want to get a bunch of this shit on you, like looking into it because you're trying to clean something out. Next thing you know, you're spraying in a hole and it shoots out of another hole, and now you got it in your eyes and your life sucks. So that took about a good 20 minutes worth of cleaning. I got a razor blade out and started going over some of the gasket edges that still had gasket shit on them. With that being said, now that that's all cleaned off and blown out, I'm gonna start putting it back together, and putting them back together is basically, for this part, is reverse. I haven't gotten into this part yet. I don't know if I need to go that far with this and do these or not, but I'm gonna inquire about that later today. As my guy normally gets right back to me and tells me, hey, you need to do that, or don't even worry about that, you know. So I'm gonna pull this off while we're at it on the float cover, because this can actually be removed and stay removed. There was a service bulletin put out at some point in time. I don't know when. I wasn't part of that. I don't think anybody was really part of that. If you were, you're probably not watching this video for how to rebuild these things. So with that being said, we're gonna put the idle metering jet back. That would be the first step. And whatever you do not want to be stripping these things out. Just take your time, be easy, make sure it feels like it's going in the way it's supposed to go in. You don't want to strip these things out. These are very delicate inside here. Get yourself a good quality screwdriver for this one. Make sure that it fits really well. Don't try and force anything. If you're forcing it, it's not supposed to be that way. This should all go back together just as easily as it came apart. That's where a lot of people have issues with things, is they go, oh, I could take that shit apart, but I can't get it back together. In your kit here, you should have a new idle metering or idle screw and a new spring. Should be both stainless steel. I like to poke holes in bags to get shit out, because I don't feel like opening the whole thing. From the way this looks, this just sits on here. There's nothing real special about it. There's a machine surface on both ends of the spring. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back in. And I'm going to change to a bigger head, flat head. Put that in the way it's supposed to go. If any of you guys have any tips about any of this stuff, you know, feel free to comment. Subscribe, please. So I went ahead and put that tight, and I'm going to go 1/4 out, and then I'm going to go 2 out. 1, 2, and that's a safe starting spot right now for this part of the rebuild. I cleaned out this jet. I did not remove it, but I did remove the small gasket that's on there. So it looks a little something like that, little guy. So it's the only downside of not ripping a hole in the bag. Oh, somebody's texting me. I feel important. Oh, for cleaning out, guys, I used a dental scraper. It was really hard to get down in that float bowl to the shit that I needed to get to, because don't come out, Welch plug. I don't want you. It's really hard to get down there, so I got an assortment of screws. I got an assortment of Q-tips, toothbrushes, and all that fun stuff to clean it out. I want this stuff to be clean when I'm putting it back together. I do not want to be having to take this stuff apart for something stupid down the road. Nothing worse than something silly like you just rebuild a motor and then all of a sudden you got an issue where something's running funny because you're an idiot, you know. So I'm gonna put that plug back in. I'm gonna cinch that down good and tight. don't want to go crazy on those. I have a new float I'm going to go ahead and put on. And that's about as easy as that gets. As for these screws that I had removed near the red gunk that weren't supposed to be removed unless necessary, I didn't find that out until after I removed them. There's a fix for them. I'm going to get the product, be right back with it. Okay guys, welcome back. What I have here, oh, let me switch this around so you can see a little bit better. Permatex thread sealant. This we can use to seal those plugs back up, or you can use JB Weld. I chose against the JB Weld. I don't like JB Weld. The key though with using this is that you want it to be back here. You don't want to be on the tip of anything down here. I had previously pulled these ones off, so what I want to do is, seeing that now that I'm opening them up, I'm seeing that there's a little bit of still moisture in there from the carburetor cleaner, and carburetor cleaner dries fairly fast, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove both of those, let the carb cleaner dry before I try and put anything in there. On the float top, I'm going to inquire if I need to rebuild the internals of this thing or not with my super awesome Merc guy that has given me oh so many words of wisdom with this whole rebuild. I'm going to try and get a I'll post up a link for a nice little write-up on what to do with these that he had helped me out with, so that way you guys can have it too. That's what we're all about doing. I'm gonna get vacuum caps that you can buy at most hardware stores and stuff, Ace Hardware, O'Reilly's. Normally they sell them in a pack of like 12. You buy them and you get a bunch of assorted ones that you don't ever use, and a lot of times they're these little ones that you need right now, so you end up having to go back and buy another assorted one, because I will not be hooking that hose back up. I'm sure I could actually probably leave it open and it wouldn't hurt anything, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just cap it off and call it done. Okay, I'm going to use my little can of cleaner, air sprayer, yes, just to make sure that it's dry, because you don't want any of this good stuff not sealing. Right now I'm not real happy with that not being that dry. It's actually the red goop is getting wet. Oh boy. So yeah, we had like 85-degree weather here yesterday, and that was really nice. And I was hoping that would have played into this weekend. Unfortunately it did not. It looks like it dropped about 20 degrees on me before I got to get started on this stuff. I know you guys are probably like, oh, you should have done it last week, jerk, and we could watch the video already. Yeah, maybe, but I didn't, so what are you gonna do about it? Anyway, do not put a leaf back into your carburetor. I'm actually gonna put it on the slight dab on the edge here of the threads, because these threads will actually coat this back in, and I'm going to use a Q-tip with a cut off end to smear it around. You don't want to get this stuff everywhere. Put a little more over here. I'm actually going to do all of them that way. That way we don't have any inconsistencies, because I'm going to put them all in right now. The thread sealant runs about $5, something like that. JB Weld is comparably priced. What you choose to use is up to you. I choose this because I'm me. So let's see if you guys can see that. I know that I'm really horrible about camera placement. I'm trying to do my best. Look, I got a tripod, I got a different camera. I hope this quality is a little bit better. I'm gonna smear that all on there. I'm gonna put my plugs back in. This big mamma jamma in the bottom, straight in the bottom. It's key. Nice and tight. Put the big guy on top. And for the other two carburetors, I'm not going to remove these unless there's a need to. That's crooked. Hang on. Need to move that out of the way to get to this one. Oh yeah, tight like a toy. Oh. And the little guy on the bottom. Yeah, whatever you do, don't use Teflon tape. Teflon is not suitable for fuel. You can have Teflon in this, but no Teflon tape. Teflon tape. Fuel will eat Teflon tape. So, with that being said, that is what's required to get your carburetor back up to snuff. I'm gonna look into this guy and go into finding out if I need to do that or not. I got a lot of parts extra. Okay, so thanks for watching. Take your time. The same deal for the other two. So keep watching, guys. Subscribe and watch for another video on the float top.